Let's talk about something we all know a little too well: procrastination. But I'm going to start with a pretty bold claim that almost everything you think you know about it, that it's about being lazy or bad with time, is probably wrong. Today, we're going to completely flip the script on why you end up avoiding the very things you want most in life.
Just let that sink in for a second. That's not a metaphor. I mean, on a real neurochemical level, that book you want to write, that business you're dreaming of, your brain's ancient survival hardware can see those goals as actual legitimate dangers. So no, this is not a character flaw. You are not lazy. You are being protected. And figuring out this whole protection system, well, that's the key to finally getting unstuck. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the protection paradox, then look at how it creates something called productivity shadow. We'll map out the emotional hijack behind it all and even see why your brain thinks it's making a logical choice. Then we get to the good stuff, building a new toolkit for safety so you can find the real starting line.
All right, let's dive into part one. This is the big idea that changes everything. We have to stop thinking about procrastination as a time management problem. It's not. It's a sophisticated biological defense protocol.
You know, what we call laziness is actually your nervous system working in overdrive. It's this complex, involuntary reaction that kicks in when your brain decides that your emotional safety right here, right now, is way more important than some far-off success. I mean, think about it. For millions of years, your brain's #1 job was just to keep you alive today. It's not built for 5-year plans, it's built to dodge immediate threats. And as you're about to see, the threat of shame or failure can feel just as real to that ancient part of your brain as a predator lurking in the bushes.
Now, here's the tricky part. This defense protocol doesn't always look like binge-watching TV. Oh no, it's much sneakier than that. In fact, it often disguises itself as being super busy, which is exactly why it's so confusing.
Come on, be honest. Does this sound familiar? That huge, life-changing project is just sitting there and bam, you're suddenly hit with this unstoppable urge to deep clean the refrigerator or, alphabetize your spice rack. It feels like you're just a passenger, right? You're watching yourself do all these random little tasks while a part of your brain is just screaming, "What are you doing?" Well, that feeling, that's what we call the shadow of productivity, and there's a real neurological reason for it.
Okay, this slide really breaks it down. On the left, you've got your low-threat, everyday stuff. Taking out the trash, organizing your inbox. Your identity, your sense of who you are, it's not on the line. But then look at the right side. These are the big ones, the goals tied directly to your core self. And when your identity is on the line, your brain's little threat detector, the amygdala, it sees the possibility of failure as a direct hit to your self-worth. It's not a task anymore, it's an emotional minefield.
And what's the long-term cost of constantly backing away from that minefield? It's this, the identity gap. It's that awful nagging feeling you get when you know what you're capable of, but your actions just don't match up. To protect you, your brain keeps pushing you toward what's called false competence. That little high you get from ticking off an easy, meaningless task. But over time, that pattern just traps you in this protective crouch, making that gap between who you are and who you could be even wider.
Okay, so none of this is happening by chance. It's not a personality flaw, it's a predictable, automatic, self-reinforcing loop. So now, let's pull back the curtain and map out exactly how this emotional hijack works.
So how does this whole hijack actually unfold? Understanding this hidden step-by-step process, that's where the power is. It's how you learn to see the loop as it's happening, catch it in the act, and finally choose to do something different. Okay, this is it. This is the anatomy of the hijack. Let's walk through it. First, you have the identity-linked trigger. You sit down to work on your big thing. Right away, step 2. Threat activation. Your amygdala, your brain's smoke detector, just freaks out. It doesn't see a fun challenge, it sees a huge risk of failure and shame, and it hits the panic button. That feeling of dread, your mind going blank, that's a physiological freeze response. So, step 3, short-term repair. To get away from that awful feeling, you instinctively pivot to something easy and predictable. You check your email. And then, step 4, the kicker, a dopamine hit. The second you switch tasks, your brain gives you a little reward, but, and this is so important, it's not rewarding you for being productive, it's rewarding you for escaping the threat. Step 5, reinforcement. The anxiety vanishes. Relief. And your brain learns a very simple lesson. Avoiding that big goal equals feeling safe. Which brings us to the final brutal step, the shame spiral. Later on, you feel terrible for procrastinating, which just makes the goal feel even bigger and scarier the next time around. The whole cycle just gets stronger and stronger.
I really need to hammer this point home. Because it's everything. That little buzz you get from procrastinating is very real, but it's not what you think it is. Your brain isn't happy you organized your desktop. It's happy because you took a big, scary, unknown outcome, your potential failure, and you replaced it with a small, predictable win. You made the world feel controllable again, and for your survival brain, that is the ultimate prize. It's a quick fix for your mood.
Now, I know what you're thinking. This whole loop sounds completely crazy, but from your brain's point of view, especially that ancient part of it, it's actually making a perfectly logical choice to keep you safe in the here and now.
This is a concept called hyperbolic discounting, and it explains so much. Basically, your brain is wired to want good things now. So yeah, finishing your novel a year from now is this huge, amazing reward, but it's also abstract and way off in the future. The feeling of relief you get from answering one email right now, it's tiny, but it's immediate and it's guaranteed. So your brain does the math and picks the sure thing every single time. It's not being irrational, it's just really bad at long-term planning.
And here's the other brilliant, almost sneaky thing your brain does. By putting things off, you're subconsciously creating a built-in excuse in case you fail. It's a way to protect your ego. The logic goes something like this. Well, if this doesn't work out, it's not because I wasn't good enough, it's just because I ran out of time. It's an incredible self-protection strategy. It shields your very identity from what feels like it could be a fatal blow. So, if you take one thing away from this section, let it be this. Your brain is choosing to repair your mood right now. It is literally sacrificing your long-term success to protect your sanity in this moment. Why? Because when that anxiety is screaming, it genuinely doesn't think you can handle the emotional weight of trying and failing. It sees that as a threat it has to eliminate at all costs.
Okay, so we've dissected the problem. We get the paradox, we see the loop, we understand the brain's weird logic. So, what do we do about it? This is where we shift from theory to practice. It's time to build a new toolkit, one based on internal safety.
And this is the fundamental change in strategy. If you've been trying to just power through procrastination with pure willpower, you've basically been bringing a butter knife to a sword fight. It's the wrong tool for the job. The goal is not to be tougher than the fear. The goal is to make the task feel safe enough that the fear doesn't show up in the first place.
And we're going to do that with 3 core strategies. First, we have to lower the threat level of the task itself. Second, we have to swap out that harsh inner critic for some compassionate observation. And third, we need to put the very first step on autopilot.
So let's start with lowering the threat. You've probably heard of the 5-minute rule, but let's call it what it is. A minimum viable action, or an MVA. The whole point here is to make the first step so ridiculously, laughably small that your amygdala doesn't even notice. You're not going to write your book. Nope, you are going to open the document. You're not starting a business, you're Googling one potential name. Committing to just 5 minutes of that tiny thing is how you sneak past the brain's alarm system and just get the ball rolling.
Next up, compassionate observation. When you procrastinate and then you yell at yourself for it, you are literally pouring gasoline on the fire. All that self-criticism does is confirm what your brain already suspected. See? I told you this was dangerous. It leads to pain. Actual research shows that practicing self-forgiveness after you procrastinate is a biological necessity for making progress. It literally lowers your stress hormones. So instead of, I'm so lazy, try, okay, my brain is in its protection mode right now. That makes sense. That tiny shift can stop the whole shame spiral before it even starts.
And finally, we automate the start using something called an implementation intention. It's just a simple if-then formula, but it acts like a neuromechanical bridge. For example, if it's 9 a.m. and my coffee is ready, then I will open my project file for 5 minutes. You see, you're making the decision ahead of time. It removes that moment of hesitation, that should I start now question, which is exactly where the anxiety loves to creep in. The action becomes automatic instead of a huge, scary choice.
So let's pull all of this together. Once you really understand this deep-seated system of goal avoidance, it gives you a totally new and honestly a much kinder way to think about what it actually takes to achieve anything important. This is the single most important thing to remember. Your procrastination is not a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that your brain built a shield to protect you from the feelings of failure or inadequacy or judgment. So real progress doesn't come from fighting your laziness. It comes from learning to manage your own internal state of safety. It's about becoming a gentle guide for your own nervous system. So the next time you feel that urge to procrastinate, I want you to stop asking, "What's wrong with me?" and start asking, "How can I make this feel safer to start?" Because the real work isn't at the finish line. It's in the safety you build for yourself right at the starting line. Create that safety, and you'll finally give your biggest goals the shot they deserve.